machine shut off on me last time, so we'll go. We are going to finish. This is Chapter 8, Lesson 5, the second half. So yesterday we talked about factoring polynomials, where we just took out a greatest common factor from all of the terms. We practiced factoring that way, and then it got a little more complicated, and we found we did grouping. So we grouped two of the four terms together to find a common factor after we did that. If we remember, and you guys got very good at it, you caught on to it real quickly. So why we factor polynomials is because in order to solve it, to find the value of the variable, hopefully we only have one variable, you need to make sure you have factors. You need to create a product, set it equal to 0, and create a product. So if we set it equal to 0, then we know that one of our two numbers that we multiplied together has to be 0 in order to get 0. Maybe even both of them are 0. But, you know, so if I take this example from right here, we factored this one out right above it in example 3, and our answer was a minus 1 and 3a minus 4. If that were to be equal to 0, what we know is that either this number is 0, because when I take this times that, I get 0, or maybe this number is some sort of number, and then this right here, this value is 0, because when I multiply it by the first number, I get 0. This is why you will end up with having two possible answers. So if you have an a squared or an x squared or variable squared, that means you get two possible answers. So we set each of them equal to 0, and then it's a one or two step equation. So in this one, we just add 1, and a is either equal to 1, or we add 4, and 3a equals 4, and then we divide by 3, and a is equal to 4 over 3. Okay, so we will still be factoring. Let's go to our second page of our notes. We're still going to factor using the stuff we did yesterday by grouping, but what we are going to add on to that then is that we will be, they will be equal to 0, and we will set each factor equal to 0. So here's your solving steps. Isolate if needed, meaning get 0. Solve for 0. Factor if needed. This one's already factored for us. Draw a line between the factors. So right here, got two factors here. Set both equal to 0. So I've got q plus 2 equals 0, or 2q minus 1 equals 0, in order for that product to equal 0. Then we solve them. Minus 2, and q is equal to negative 2, or I'm going to add 1 and divide by 2. So our two possible answers are negative 2 or a positive 1/2. Okay, so let's try that again, but we're going to add a step. Okay, in example B, right below this, the adding a step is because this one is not factored for you. But this is only a binomial. So what can I do with that binomial? What can we take out? Okay, we can factor out the greatest common factor of 3x and get x plus 3 in here equals 0. It still equals 0. All we did was undistribute or factor. So I have two factors. I have 3x equals 0, and I have x plus 3 equals 0. Now this one tends to scare people because they always think they're wrong. When I divide by 3, it doesn't really matter. 0 is a possible answer, and it will happen quite a bit. So don't freak out about that. And then when we subtract 3, x is negative 3 or 0 are possible answers. Okay, let's look at C inside of this box, and we're adding one more step, because before I can factor this, I need to isolate it, meaning get it equal to 0. So we want to leave the x squared positive, so we're going to subtract 4x to bring it over here. And now we have x squared minus 4x equals 0. Now we can factor it. It's only a binomial, so take out a greatest common factor, which is x and x minus 4. and then set them both equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. That one's already done. Possible answer. Solve the other one. 4 and 0 are possible answers. All right, so let's apply this knowledge to a word problem. Okay, down here, really popular formula. The path of a soccer ball kicked upward can be modeled by the equation height equals 64t minus 16t squared, where t represents time in seconds and h is the height in feet. So at any given time, you can calculate the height. They want to find the values of t when h is 0, which is perfect because that just means it's already set equal to 0. So I got 0 equals 64t minus 16t squared. Okay, what can we factor out of my binomial here? Hopefully you're quick on your feet and you know that it is 16. So we're going to take out a 16t and we're going to get 4 minus t. All right, set each factor equal to 0, so 16t equals 0, and 4 minus t equals 0. Divide by 16, doesn't matter, t is 0. Now over here, it's a little bit complicated. Negative t equals negative 4, and divide by negative 1 to change the sign, and t equals 4. This is time. Sorry about that. This is time. 0 seconds and 4 seconds. Now, if we think about that, if we're talking about a soccer ball being kicked upward and then it goes up and eventually it comes down. So when will the height be at 0? When will it be on the ground? Well, at the beginning and at the end, twice. 0 seconds and 4 seconds. All right, that is all I have for this. Now your assignment is going to both include the factoring and then solving. Okay, so that added step on the end. Remember, if you have any questions, come and see me before or after school or in SRB. I will be more than happy to help. But I think you guys got this locked down. All right, good luck.